honorable guest speakers and participants. Today, 14th of October 2023, we can gather here in a very healthy condition to enjoy virtual 3-in-1 program of agricultural product marketing. This session, we proudly present you the second series of workshop session. Last week was the first session with Mr. Wang Linma from Lincoln University. So the purpose of this session is for capacity building. So we are very pleased to have two distinguished guest speakers from reputable institution, Mr. Aditya Kilus and also Mr. Fani Widadi, PhD for today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Novi Haryati. I will be your both MC and also moderator for today. So first of all, let's capture this moment by ini kalau misalnya foto dulu sudah ya Mbak Deni, siap? Is it okay? All right. So let's take a picture together by having a group photo. Please turn on your cameras. And Mas Bagus or Bu Deni is going to capture this moment. All right. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Let's take a picture together.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Okay, that's done.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we will go with the second session. So I would like to welcome Ms. Deni Meitasari SPM SC, who will be speaking on behalf of the Department of Agricultural Social Economy and as a lecturer of Agricultural Economic Laboratory. So Ms. Deni, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Novi. Good morning, everyone. I am deeply honored to stand before you today as we kick off this remarkable event, the virtual 3-in-1 program on marketing of agricultural products. On behalf of the head of Agricultural Socio-Economics Department at the Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas Brawijaya, I extend a warm welcome to all our distinguished guests, participants, and speakers. We are delighted to have you join us today for this exciting workshop series focusing on enhancing research competency through capacity building. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. Aditya Marehendra Kilus and Dr. Fani Widadi, our esteemed keynote speakers, for gracing us with their expertise. We are truly fortunate to have them here today, and I eagerly anticipate the insights they will share with us. I would also like to extend my appreciation to Ms. Novi, who will be moderating and MC for guiding us through this event. And to all our participants, I encourage you to actively engage in this discussion, ask questions, and share your experiences. Your active engagement in today's event is what makes it truly meaningful. And this is the opportunity to expand your knowledge and networks. As we embark on this exciting journey of knowledge and discovery, I am confident that today's event will not only be enlightening, but will also lay the foundation for future collaborations and innovations in this vital field. Once again, welcome to the virtual 3-in-1 program on marketing of agricultural products. Let's make the most of this opportunity to enhance our research competencies and contribute to the growth of the agricultural sector. Thank you for your participation, and let's have a productive and inspiring day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Deni Meitasari, for the insightful speech. And now, the virtual 3-in-1 program second series is officially open. Thank you very much. Now, let's turn to our main session. As a moderator, I will now provide a brief introduction and go over the guidelines and rules for this forum. Please pay close attention to the instruction. And the language that we are using here is bilingual, so feel free, Mr. Fani and also Pak Adit, kita bisa menggunakan bahasa Inggris atau bahasa Indonesia since the participant is not only from English class for agricultural marketing product, but also from umum, ya, seperti itu. Alright. So now let's start with the first session. We will have a dedicated time for question and answer after that. But before, I would like to introduce you to our first guest speaker. And our first guest speaker is Mr. Aditya Marendra Kilus, PhD from the Research Center for Behavior, Rural and Circular Economy. The first one, please. Okay. So, I'm so happy to introduce you to Mr. Aditya Marendra Kilus. As I mentioned earlier, he is a researcher of Research Center for Behavioral and Circular Economy National Research and Innovation Agency, RIN. He has the academic qualification of doctoral degree from University of Queensland, Australia. He has so many research interests, started from analyzing of agricultural value chain system, the application of system thinking methodologies, behavioral pattern exhibit by stakeholders within agricultural value chain and consumer segment, strategies for the conservation and sustainable utilization of agricultural genetic resources, management of agricultural technologies, and proficiency in technical domains such as agronomy and the utilization of remote sensing data for the advancement of agricultural development initiatives. All right, so before I welcome Mr. Aditya here, I would like you to pay attention closely to the important detail and guidelines, ladies and gentlemen. So please be respectful and engage through the event. And for the Q&A session will be after our second speaker, Mr. Fani, PhD. And to ensure we stay on schedule, please adhere to the allocated time for questions. So we value your participation, so please keep your question concise. Related to the certificate, after the Q&A question, we will distribute certificates to all participants who is fulfilling or fill in the attendance list. So these certificates are a testament of your dedication to present, to enhancing your research knowledge today. Please be aware that today's event is being recorded and the recording will be made available for those who couldn't attend and for future reference. So I think that's all, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm proudly welcome you. Please, the stage is yours, Mr. Aditya Kilus, PhD.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bu Novi. My voice is clear, eh? Okay, so
Yes.
I will share my presentation slide first. Okay, is it clear enough? Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity here. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Bu Novi, for this opportunity. So Bu Novi already said that this session will be conducted in bilingual, but I already prepared my contekan in bahasa Inggris. So, but okay, but yeah, I will read it in English then. So yeah, hang on a second. Is it the right slide? Hang on. Can you see my
Yes.
What does it called? Pointer?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay. So thank you so much, Bu Novi and Universitas Brawijaya for inviting me here in this beautiful morning to share my experience about the system thinking approach, especially in agriculture products marketing. So here I was asked to share about the system thinking approach in agriculture products marketing, but I want to tell you all here that I'm not an expert, but I will share my experience in using the system thinking approach in analyzing the value chain and of agricultural products. So this is me. Bu Novi already introduced me. My affiliation now is in the Research Center for Behavioral and Circular Economy in the National Research and Innovation Agency in BRIN. So I just finished my PhD from the School of Agriculture and Food Science in the University of Queensland, Australia. And this is my study interest. Bu Novi already read my study interest. So if any one of you here who has same study interest, we can have a discussion together. And then this is my outline, the outline of my presentation. First, I would like to share my experience, my understanding about marketing as an activity in the value chain system. And then the second one, I will explain about the system thinking approach in the value chain. And then the last one, I will share my experience about my understanding about the steps of systems thinking approach, especially in the value chain analysis of agricultural product and specifically in the marketing of agricultural product. So I will start from my understanding about the concept of value chain. It's maybe all of you are already familiar with this concept. So this is a concept that basically emphasizes how all actors, all activities and external influences can deliver products to consumers based on what consumers want or what consumer needs. So in the value chain, we have the primary and supporting actors. So the primary actors is like producers, intermediary, and then processors, and so on and so forth. And for the supporting actors, they do not directly involved in the in delivering product, but they have important role in ensure that product will deliver to consumers. So these actors, they are working and connected each other to deliver something to consumers. This is the result of my PhD research. Here I mapped the Indonesian mango value chain system. And as what happened in other agricultural commodities, the Indonesian mango value chain system consists of several components. We can see here that we have the activities here, and then we have the actors. This is the primary actors, and then we have the support providers. So each actors have their own interests and resources. And yeah, maybe it will be a little bit different with what happened in developed countries where there are not too many actors involved. And the involvement, sorry about that. The involvement of many actors in the Indonesian mango value chain system or any agricultural commodities in Indonesia makes this system included as a complex system. And related to marketing, so I just realized when I made this presentation that every activities in the value chain has a marketing activity. So for example, like input suppliers, they will sell input to growers. They will sell fertilizer, they will sell pesticides to growers. And then growers, they will sell their mangoes to traders, to local traders. And then local traders will sell their mangoes to regional traders and so on and so forth. That's why, yeah, even though we are not talking about marketing, so our goal is marketing. So, or we can say that the example of how to sell mangoes to export markets. So other activities in the value chain cannot be overlooked because it might also influence the marketing of agricultural products. So yeah, let's say it will influence the performance of mango exports. So in the analysis of agricultural value chain system, sometimes we conduct it in linear. So for example, like we only analyzing what influencing something without considering that there might be a feedback mechanism happen. What is feedback mechanism then? So for example, like in some cases, we are only proposing that to increase sales, we need to increase the promotion. So we never consider that there might be a feedback that we will get from that promotion. So that's the one that we often overlook in analyzing a system. So this is the system actually looks like, and yeah, it's just quite complex, and it is important to think that everything in this world is a system. So, okay, the value chain is also a system, right? Then it leads us to understand about this question: what is systems thinking? So, basically, systems thinking is an approach. It's an approach, not a method. Like, yeah, maybe an approach. Yeah, it's an approach to think that everything in this world is a system. There are interconnection between elements within the system that creates a structures that underlie a complex situation. So if we find some complex situation, there must be an underlying structures that we need to identify that. So that's why we need to understand. That's understanding everything as a system. So like what I have told you, a system consists of several components that connect each other and have feedback mechanism, right? So if we see in the left side of the screen here, it's not a system because they are separated. We have like a mouth here, we have liver, and then intestine, and so on and so forth. But they are separated. They are not connect each other, and they do not give feedback to each other. But in the right side here, it is the system, digestive system, right? Because they work together and can give feedback mechanism, and they have goals. The goal is to absorb the nutrients from the foods or something. So these are other examples of system, like I've told you about value chain system, and then human body, the digestive system, and then nerve system or something, and other in the human body. We have also city system, transport system, education system, government system, and so on and so forth. So everything in this world is a system, right? That's what we need to keep in our mind for now. So now, why the system thinking approach is important in agricultural marketing? First is to understand the underlying structures I've told you before. What we do in marketing activities, or how our marketing activities performs, there must be an underlying structure. So this is an iceberg diagram, which represents the importance of understanding the underlying structures. So people only often see the visible one here that we used to call as events, and people only give reaction to the visible events. So like an iceberg, of course, only the top one that can be visible. So let's say if we are right in the middle of a 1 kilometer length iceberg, we can give instruction to the captain that, hey, we need to move 500 meters to the left or to the right, right? But if we only see the visible one, we sometimes can give wrong decision. So of course, we don't know how big the ice under the water, right? So for example, in sales, I've told you about the sales. Managers sometimes only simply make a decision to increase the promotion activity. But in fact, it is possible that the cause of low in sales was not due to the lack of promotion. There might be other factors that underlie this event. That's why we need to understand more deeply about the root of a problem. So here we need to understand the patterns and the trends about these problems. And then after that, we need to identify the underlying structures about these events and also the patterns. So by understanding the underlying structures, we can create changes. We can make a transformation of the system. So we can make a fundamental transformation that makes the system works more better. So this is the most common example. For example, headache. Yeah. So that's the visible event. Okay, people can simply give Panadol to reduce the pain. Right. That's the event. But if we want to look more deeper, we can see the patterns and trends. Let's say it happened every end of the month. So here maybe we can give conclusion that it might be because savings are decreasing, right? But that's the first pattern. But we can find also another pattern. How about if it start happen since the age of 35? So that's the complexity of the system, right? It's start complex. So that's why we need to understand the underlying structures. We need to understand how our dietary patterns, how the salary, how our workload, and how these problems are connected each other. So this is the example of from my PhD research. So we can see here that the export of mangoes from Indonesia is very low. It's only less than 1% of the total production. That's the event. This one is the event. So how's the pattern? This is the pattern. It's always happened every year. So our export is only less than 1% every year. So that's the pattern. So to increase mango export, we need to understand the structures of the Indonesian mango industry and how its elements within the Indonesian mango industry and factors, of course, in the system connect each other and create that complex situation. And once we understand about the underlying structures, we can avoid what we used to call an unintended consequences. So let me have a drink first. I'm sorry for that. Okay. The unintended consequences. So in making a decision, we sometimes overlook fundamental things that can cause unintended consequences. These unintended consequences can sometimes give rise to new problems that have a bigger impact before. So I would like to give some examples of unintended consequences. So the first example is the 4-Pest campaign. You can find this story on Google. This is one of the famous stories representing the unintended consequences. So in the 1950s, China under Mao Zedong's government targeted for pests to be eradicated. So we have rats, flies, mosquitoes, and sparrows. The eradication of sparrows was aimed to increase the production of food crops. However, the eradication of sparrows resulted an ecological imbalance. They forgot that sparrows is one of the natural predators for locusts. With no sparrows to eat them, locust population are rising up. This creates a new problem, including the widespread deforestation and misuse of poisons and pesticides. It was again creates crop failure anywhere in China at that time. And at the end, it led to the Great Chinese Famine. You can find this story in Google. It's a quite famous story. This is one of the example of unintended consequences. The second example is about the cobra effect. This is one of the funny things about the unintended consequences. So it was happened in India during the British colonization. So the colonial government at the time tried to reduce cobra population in New Delhi because there was an overpopulation of cobra at the time. And the government asked the community to support this program, and they will give cash rewards for dead cobras. However, instead of hunting cobras, many community members have started cobra farming so they can get cash from the government, which was not the main intention of the colonial government at that time. The last example is from my current research, which tried to understand the problem in Indonesian garlic marketing. Maybe for those who doesn't know that more than 95% of garlic in Indonesia is imported garlic. So the government now tried to increase the production. It starts since 2013. And the government also currently issuing a requirements that garlic importers must plant garlic in Indonesia before obtaining an import permit. So therefore, the need for seeds increases. This slightly motivated farmers to plant garlic to sell as seeds. However, in 2020, all programs from the government were removed because the budget was used to deal with COVID-19. In addition, the regulation of importers also have changed. Importers now can import before planting. So this condition caused the demand for seeds to drop drastically. Meanwhile, there are no other market for locally produced garlic other than seeds. And to compete directly with the imported garlic is almost impossible because the morphological condition of locally produced garlic is not competitive compared to the imported garlic. So again, this condition eventually made farmers' motivation to decrease again to produce garlic. So that's why these are the reasons why understanding the underlying structures is important. So again, by understanding the underlying structures here, we can make a systemic changes of the system by transforming the system. We can make a decision that can avoid that unintended consequences. Now, what are the steps of the systems thinking approach? I have explained to you about the concept of the systems thinking. Now we move to the steps of the systems thinking approach. So according to Sterman, there are 5 steps of the systems thinking approach. The first 2 steps are the qualitative part, which is the problem articulation and formulation of dynamic hypotheses. And then the next 3 steps are the quantitative steps, including the formulation of simulation model testing and validation, and also policy design and evaluation. So we move to the problem articulation. So how to conduct the problem articulation? Basically, problem articulations is to identify what is the problems. I have shown you before about the problem, but here in the problem articulation, we need to answer several questions like what is the problem, and then why it becomes a problem, who or what causes the problem, and where the problems come from, and how did you deal with the problem so far. So I did it with using the review of secondary data, and also did some interviews. We can also do the field observations and also the focus group discussion or workshops. So I have shown you this graph before. This is the problem of the Indonesian mango industry. So the export is very small, and it's always happen every year. So in addition to the domestic consumers also less satisfied with the current mango quality. And we can say that it started since 2010, where the increase in income and awareness of a healthy lifestyle. So now the domestic Indonesian consumer now starting to move into more healthy lifestyle. To more healthy lifestyle than that. So that's the problem and the patterns, right? Now we need to understand the structures of the problem that underlie this event. So this is the event and the patterns. So we need to understand the structures of problems that underlies this event. So what I did is I continued the analysis of the secondary data from the production and export data. I continue with identifying what are the problems in the Indonesian mango value chain. So I did the interviews and also field observations to understand the underlying structures of the Indonesian mango value chain. So I talked directly to the actors and involving them in the formulation of the models. So the output of this qualitative steps is the qualitative model. So once we identify the problems in the value chain, we can create the dynamic hypothesis in the form of causal loop diagram. So it is a diagram that visualizes the connection and interaction between variables. This is my CLD. If we look at it, it is quite complex, but making it is quite easy. It's just simply connect the variables within arrows and mark the polarity, whether it's positive or negative. But here we need also to use our logical thinking. Yeah. So the problems and variables identified in the problem articulation then connected with an arrow with specific polarity sign here. The sign will be positive when variables A and B running in one direction. So it doesn't mean that the increase in A will positively influence B, but we read this as the increase in A will also increase in B. For example, like increase in selling price will increase income. That's in one direction. And the sign will be negative when variables A and B are running in opposite direction. So for example, like if pest and disease increase, the production will be decreased. Right? That's what we call opposite direction. The increase in A will decrease in B. Then I mentioned you about the feedback mechanism. This is the simple feedback mechanism. We can say a positive feedback if A and B running in one direction and B to A is the same and running in one direction. So for example, like if production are increased, opportunity for income to increase is also increased. And when opportunity for income to increase are increasing, then the production will also increase. That's the positive feedback. And the negative feedback is the opposite. If A to B is one direction, but B to A is opposite direction. So for example, like if prices are increasing, so the production will increase, right? If the production increase, the price will decrease. That's the negative feedback. This is what we need to answer in the formulation of dynamic hypothesis. So it is not only identifying the problems, but also what are the causes and what are the impact. Okay. And in developing a CLD, you need to do it by your own in front of your computer using the secondary data. You can use that. You can also use the data that you get from the interviews, but it is also important to consider the opinion from different stakeholders. Like I've said earlier, value chain is a complex system, consists of many stakeholders and their respective interests and their respective activities, right? So if you Google the story of a blind man and an elephant, maybe you heard about this story before. So each blind man feels a different part of the elephant's body, but each of them only feels one part. So when they describe the elephant based on their limited experience, they describe the elephant differently from each other. So they also comes to suspect that the other person is dishonest and oh, you're wrong. I'm the one who right. So the moral of this story is that humans have a tendency to claim absolute truth based on their limited and subjective experience. They will also ignore others people limited subjective and limited experience, which maybe it will also true. Like that's why by working together with different actors and different stakeholders to understand what the system looks like, it is important. So in developing the CLD, so in an approach called group model building is encouraged to be conducted. So in this group model building, we invite all actors involved in the system and ask them to draw what their system is look like. So in my PhD research, I invited all actors in Indonesian mango value chain and make them reach a consensus about what their system looks like. Of course, there will be a power imbalance happen, especially if the farmers who have debt with the traders present in the workshop, for example. So that's where the role of a researcher as facilitator is needed. So you need to make sure that the power imbalance will not bother the process of the group model building. This is one of the examples of group model building involving value chain actors of the Indonesian flower industry, which I did several months ago in the Australia Awards Indonesia workshops. There's an interesting story here. So as an alumni of the Ministry of Agriculture, who always works for the farmers' welfare, I have previously always joined to say no to import. However, in this opportunity, so I have a new perspective. So because flour is already becomes a daily need for the Indonesian people, including farmers in the village. So meanwhile, the production of grains or wheat substitution is still very far from what is needed. Now, we need to change our perspective here that the wheat import is not always bad, but how the wheat imports can increase our food security as well as increasing our competitiveness in the international market. So that's what I have learned from this group model building. Okay, once we create the CLD, we need to identify which are the leverage points, leverage intervention points. So these leverage intervention points are specific areas of components within a system where interventions or actions can be strategically applied to create significant changes or improvement in the system as a whole. So here we need to identify the system archetypes. So this is a basic behavioral patterns of a system. So it's expressed by the circle of causality of the loops here. We can see there's many loops here. So identifying system archetypes and discovering their influences can enable the efficient changes in the system. So according to Change, there are 8 system archetypes in this world. No matter what the system are, no matter what the system looks like, there are only 8 system archetypes happen this world. So I'm going to give you an example of limit to growth archetype. So the quality of mangoes will increase the mango price, okay? And then the mango price will increase the farmer's motivation to apply good agricultural practices. That's in the same direction. So this one increase and this one also will increase, okay? And the farmer's motivation to apply good agricultural practices increase, it will again increase the quality of mango. So it's called reinforcing loop. So the graph will be like, what do you call it? It's always rising up like that. This one is the reinforcing. However, mango price, the increase in mango price will also increase the low quality mangoes sold as high quality mangoes because of the adulteration of quality by bad traders. They will sell the low quality as good quality, maybe with the lower price or something like that. They will tell lies to consumers. And then what happened? Low quality mangoes sold as high quality mangoes number is high, then the consumer perceived benefit of high quality mangoes will be decreasing. There will be like, there's no point I buy again the high quality mango because the quality will be the same as the low quality mango. All right. If the consumer perceived benefit of high quality mangoes are decreasing, then the mango price also will decreasing. So remember the positive sign, it means that it's in one direction. Is if this one in decreasing, so this one also decreasing. So it will be it's called the balancing loop. It will be limitation for this loop. So that's why it's called limit to growth archetypes. Okay, we have the limit to growth archetype here. Our next task is to identify the leverage interventions point from these variables, which is the leverage points. So from my discussion with from the group model building, we found that this one is the leverage point. We need to do something in this point. This is the point that we can do the intervention. So what we can do is we can raise the campaign for good quality standard, for mango quality standard. If this one increasing, then this one will be decreasing. So look, the polarity is negative. And we can also increase the production of high quality mangoes. If this one is increasing, it will also decreasing. So if low quality mangoes sold as high quality mangoes numbers are decreasing, so the consumer perceived benefit of high quality mango will again increase, and then the price will again increase, right? Yeah, we can also increase the number of trees applied by good agricultural practices to produce more high quality mangoes here. So these are interventions that can be applied for the current leverage point. Now, is it enough? So for a publication, it's already publishable. I already published one paper about this, only the qualitative part. However, if you want to continue with the quantitative stage, it will be good. So you can give a more comprehensive information, including how much budget that we need to provide, when our goals can be achieved, and other quantitative data. So what we need to do next is the formulation of simulation model. So it is the way to identify points that affect the overall performance of the system. So in order to do this, we use the stock and flow model. This is the simple example of the stock and flow model. This model is content of stocks here, and then flows. Flows can be inflow or outflow, and then we have the converter. So the converter will determine the number of inflow and also outflow. So this one is, for example, like tree population, mango tree population. We have the initial number of tree population, and then every year we have the addition of productive mango trees in the tree population. The fraction is like how many percent of the mango tree population. That's, for example. So this is my stock and flow model. It looks complicated, but in fact, it is complicated. So you can spend hours, you can spend days immersed in the effort for preparing this diagram. You will enjoying yourself and will forget and doesn't care about your surroundings. So in this diagram, and also based on the leverage point identified in the CLD, and also in the based on the the group model building, I have several reference points need to be tested here. So like if you see it's very small. This one, the yellow one, these are the leverage points that need to be tested. These leverage points are where the interventions will be conducted. So once I finish the model, we need to compare it with the historical data. So because the only available historical data that I found is the number of trees and mango production. So I validate my model using these two information. So if the discrepancy coefficient are well below 0.4, then this model is considered a very good model. So, but I won't explain to you how to calculate the discrepancy analysis here, but yeah, it's as your reference, because we can talk about this in the different location. So, yeah, however, there I need to emphasize here that there are no right model. So model is the representative of the real world, right? But it has some limitations that makes model cannot 100% represent the real world. So, but we need to have a model that closely represents the real world. And the final step is to determine how big an intervention will be conducted. So using the stock and flow model, we can determine the size of the intervention will be conducted. So of course, we need to take into account the resource that we have. For example, in my case here, it could be that the increase in export, to increase export, we need to increase the number of trees that implement good agriculture practices, and also to increase promotion. These, for example, these two is the leverage points. However, the government also can have limitation, right, in the budget. So other consideration make this condition, the condition is not as easy as modeled, but yeah, the government definitely has a priority for priority commodities. For example, like the government of Indonesia now still focus on the increasing the production of food crops, while mango is not a food crops, it's a secondary priority. So that's the one that we need to consider. If you want to only increase the number of trees that apply the good agricultural practices, government can easily do that with using their budget. But yeah, we need to consider that government also have other priorities. So for this reason, there needs to be a combination of several interventions to achieve the efficiency in making policies. So we can test which leverage points are the most sensitive to improving the system performance. Okay, then perhaps we can focus on that leverage points, the most sensitive leverage point, and complement it with other policies. So as we can see in this slide, so using the FENSIM software, I'm using FENSIM software here. Yeah, so many software we can use like FENSIM, Stella, and other software. Here, for example, I have 2 leverage points. So we can easily move the slider here and then make which one can give the highest results of mega export, for example. Of course, we need to also to consider our resources and availability. And we can combine these 2 interventions. So for example, like if the government has a limitation in producing good quality mango by providing subsidy to apply good agricultural practices, we can increase a little bit here and then maybe increase full here in this area and have a look how about the result about that. Yeah, we can play on this. So yeah, after that we can convert our result into the monetary form. For example, like to implement the intervention in order to increase Indonesian mango export, how much cost need to be spent. That's the example. So maybe in this short time, it will be very difficult for all of you here to understand what I'm sharing, but there is always opportunities for us to be able to discuss more deeply about the system thinking approach, especially in the agriculture, marketing of agricultural products. So I want to conclude here that systems thinking is not a rocket science. It's very easy to learn. We just need to have a critical thinking and then logical thinking as well. So we need to understand that everything in this world is a system, right? So it is important to model the system using the participatory approach, because the actors, the value chain actors, are the ones who really know the situation, not us, not the researchers, right? So we can easily draw a closed loop diagram or stock and flow model using the secondary data, but that's not the truly representation of real world. The farmers, the traders, they are the one who know the real situation. So we need to involve them. It is important to involve them. And lastly, so if you look at this, yeah, this is not Bahasa Indonesia. It's Malay. In Malay, my supervisor is Malaysian, and he sometimes, sometimes we speak in Bahasa Indonesia or Malay. So he always encouraged me to always collaborate with other people, especially with my colleagues, my peers. And by working together, we can produce something that can benefit all of us. So yeah, this includes the approach of using the group model building. So I just realized this, that with different stakeholders sitting together to reach a consensus about what their system looks like, this is a representation of Mufakat Membawa Berkat. Okay. That's all that I can share this morning, Bu Novi. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with all of you today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for the insightful presentation on system thinking on agricultural product marketing. Now, we are very happy to have the fruitful discussion, but later. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Panwidadi, PhD, Thank you very much, Mr. Aditya Kulus, PhD. So you can take a moment to grab a drink and let's just wait for the Q&A session after this. Now, okay, panitia bisa menghasilkan. All right, so that was Mr. Aditya Marendra Kulus with the presentation on system thinking. Now we also have the, one of the great speakers, Mr. Fani Widati, PhD. He is currently a lecturer at Agribusiness Department, Faculty of Agriculture, Universitas 11 Maret, Surakarta. And for the academic qualification, he earns the doctoral degree or PhD from Wageningen University and Research in 2021. And then Master Agribusiness from Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang in 2010. And he earns bachelor degree from Universitas Brawijaya in 2008. So his working experience are so many, distributed in as the lecturer of Agribusiness Program Universitas 11 Maret Surakarta. And he is also chief editor of Journal SEPA, Social Economy, Pertanian, and Agribusiness UNS. Don't forget if you want to submit, yes. And the last secretary at AAI, Asosiasi Agribusiness Indonesia, Komda Surakarta, Jawa Tengah. So his research interests are contract farming, food supply and value chain, upgrading of value chain, behavioral economics, and agriculture marketing. Yeah, it's very interesting. All right, so without further ado, now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome Mr. Fani Widadi, PhD. The stage is yours.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Bu Novi. Is my sound clear?
Yes, clear.
Okay. Yes, thank you. It's an honor for me to present in here. It's like back to the student in bachelor degree, of course. Okay, I'm going to share my presentation.
All right.
Wait a minute. Okay, it's clear?
Yes, it's clear. It is.
Okay. Thank you again, Bu Novi, Bu Denny. Yeah, it's for me. I'm going to present in English actually. But for example, if I forgot something, it's very long time not speak English. I will speak in Indonesia. It's very honor for me to give lecture in here, meet with all the students. It make me memorize to back again in my bachelor degree when I study in the Brawijaya University. Okay, the committee, I mean the committee information about especially with the topic the contract farming and producer organization in Indonesian vegetable value chain in Indonesia. Actually, with more I will present this more likely with the Mr. Aditya Kilos has present about the food system thinking, and maybe is I'm also speaks little bit about that. So I hope it's fine. Okay. Yeah. My topic is about the agriculture product marketing, and I'm focused with the two institutional arrangement in here, the contract farming and producer organization in, especially with the study case in vegetable value chain in Indonesia. My name is Fani Widadi. I'm from Agribusiness Department, Faculty of Agriculture, University of 11 Maret, Surakarta. This is the outline of my presentation today. I'm going to talk about the institutional arrangement, what I call in here that innovation in the institutional arrangement. The two kinds of the innovation institutional arrangement that I focus in here is contract farming and producer organization in the value chain. And the second, I'm going to talk about the theoretical framework in the value chain. And then the third, the application choice experiments. I emphasize the lecture today in the concept and the theory, especially in the institutional arrangement and also in the value chain. Choice experiment in here is just tools. Personally speaking, before we learn about experiment, I think it's important to understand the concept about the innovation institutional arrangement and also the concept in the value chain. And then the last point, we can learn about the discrete choice experiment. So what is the contract farming arrangement? This is, we talk about the contract farming. This is the agreement between the farmer and buyer, what I call in a contractor, about the production and delivery of particular quantity, quality of farm production with the predetermined of price and with the provision of particular service by the contractor to the farmer. The contractor is here can be the trader, processor, or retailer that usually in the contract, usually the initiator of the contract farming. If we can see the vegetable value chain in Indonesia based on my research, what I found in the field, this is the vegetable value chain in Indonesia, that the production is for the farmer, and then there is many actors involved in the vegetable value chain, and maybe the Mr. Aditya have talked about that also in the case of the mango, but in my case, this is the case of vegetable value chains. There is many actors involved of the value chain, from the producer to the customer. They are like the middleman or rural collector, traditional wholesaler, trader at wholesaler market, and traditional retailer until to the customer. And if we can notice in here, there are 3 high value market in the vegetable value chain Indonesia. The first is processor or agribusiness farm that need fresh vegetable to industry. And then the third is supermarket. We can see in the modern retailer. There are many supermarket in Indonesia nowadays. And then the third, the market that in the traditional retailer on Indonesia is like in wet market or in pasar tradisional like that. So there is 3 market in here. So but we can look more detail in here, that the market that sell to the agribusiness firm, there are only few market involved in the chains, and also in the modern retail market also only few, and there is mechanism of the contract. It's very totally different with the vegetable who sells to the traditional retailer. There is no contract and many actors involved on this chain. So it's mean that we can conclude that the vegetable that sell to the high value market, such as a processor and modern retail market, it needs innovation institutional arrangement, such as there is a role of the contract in here, and also there is the role of farmer group. In English is the role of producer organization. In Indonesia is like farmer group, kelompok tani, or in koperasi, something like that. Mr. Radia also has talked about that, and I will also talk again, but my focus in institutional environment here. So we can see the value chain. Value chain is just not only distribution of the product from farmer to the customer, but there is many factor influence the value chain mechanism, such as in here there is institutional arrangement and institutional environment. such as the law, policy, culture, tradition, and also there is organizational environment involved that influence the value chain mechanism, such as supporting organization, NGO, government agency, private sectors, and also we can include here there is a producer organization or cooperative. While the institutional environment, the contract farming is the position in institutional environment. So the distribution of the product or the supply chain, the food value chain, it's also influence the condition of in the institutional environment and also organizational environment. What my focus in research in here that institutional environment is contract farming, while organization environment is in the producer organization. So the first thing is about the contract farming. Why the contract farming are increasingly popular? You can see the value chain developed countries in Europe, in United States, for instance, the contract farming have existed in for a long time. If we look the value chain in the developed country like in Europe and United States, the processor or the farmer always have the contract regulation with the processor to supply their product. And then the second, the contract farming are so important in developing and transition country. If we go to the village, we can see many contract, how the contract created by trader or by processor with the smallholder farmer. And then the third, the contract farming can help the modernization of agriculture. And then the contract farming, if we look the vertical coordinate, are important to obtain more vertical coordination in the value chain. Why there is need more vertical coordination in the food chains? We can see that vertical coordination is like the coordination between the farmer and buyer. And one mechanism, the vertical coordination in the food chain is the contract. Why there is need more vertical coordination in the food chains? The first is for efficiency. This is to improve logistic efficiency, to reduce market risk, to improve information exchange between the two traders, and then the second for quality and safety, because the processor when need the high quality and safety standard, so they need more vertical coordination with the farmer, for instance, in here. And then the retailers also want the uniform and guarantee of the quality. Customer and retailers want guarantee of the food safety. This is different theoretical perspective on contract farming arrangement. If we want to research something about the contract farming arrangement, we can have many. We can choose which one want to use the theoretical perspective in here. If we focus the economic, we can use this topic like what arrangement is efficient. We can see that many arrangement in the contract farming attribute. Later we learn about that, and then we can analyze what the arrangement is efficient for the farmer or for buyers. And then the third, we can focus on the theory in the supply chain management. The research question we can use is what scheme works best in a specific food. Later we discuss about that. And then the political economic, for instance, like what's the impact on power relationship and on the equity. And then the sociology, what is the impact on social and gender relations. Because now we lecture in the agriculture marketing, maybe we can focus on the economics and also in supply chain management. The contract in agriculture, it have three functions in here. The first function is coordination between the buyer and producer. And then the contract also have the function for give the incentive and also penalties and to motivate the partner. In here, give the incentive to the farmer and also give the penalty for the farmer. Incentive for giving the investment and also the contract compliance. And then the third function for the contract in agriculture is allocation of risk. There is market risk can be transformed from the farmer to the buyer or producer for the farmer, and also can transfer the production of risk. This is the main three function the contract in agriculture. The next okay, this is a theoretical perspective that we can focus. We can use we can do some research with the topic of the contract. We can use the transaction economic. We can use the theory in supply chain management, and also we can use the theory in social network theory. This is the fundamental theory we can use in the when we use the research, for instance, like in the contract farming. So the first is the contract farming, the transaction cost economic. If we learn about the transaction economics, the contract farming, it can reduce the transaction cost. This is the main concept of in the what is transaction cost. If we understand that all the transaction is come with the transaction cost. Transaction cost is try to seek to transaction partners. I mean, seeks to reduce the transaction cost. If we learn about the transaction costs are caused by many attributes in the transaction, such as asset specificity, uncertainty, and then the frequency. So the contract farming, it means can reduce the asset specificity of the farmer, can also reduce the uncertainty of the farmer. This is the rules of the contract farming, can reduce the transaction costs by reducing the uncertainty. We can discuss, we discussed before about the reduce the risk, and then by reduce transactional risk, particularly related to specific investment, and then the third by improving the coordination. Yeah, so this is the contract farming is the tools to reduce the transaction costs. We can see in here. I mean, I will back again later that we can focus in there. If we draw the contract farming arrangement on the government structure continuum, government structure is like the rule of the game, the transaction between farmer and buyer, for instance. We can see in the left in here, this is spot market. It means that there is no coordination. I mean, the farmer just sell to the middleman, or farmer just sell their product to the rural corrector or wholesaler. Then there is no contract in here. There is the condition is many farmers in the traditional retailer, and then now the increase there is make the specification of the contract, and then maybe the next coordination level from the strategic alliance is like, for example, like using the contract, more production contract, and then also like franchise, for example, it's also the one vertical coordination mechanism in the governance structure. Is talk about this it is very theoretical in this concept, but it's important if we learn about the position of the contract in the governance structure. And then the very high level of the vertical coordination in the governance structure is like vertical integration. So it means all the control is on the buyers. While in the spot market, the buyer autonomous or can control their production itself. But in the contract, maybe some of this mechanism of the production, how the product, how the farmer cultivate, how the farmer build the quality is some the control from the buyers. And then the vertical integration is much control. The level of the control is in the produce in the traders on the processor. So why the small farmer engage in the contract? This is we can explain this in the transaction cost. The farmer can get easily technical assistance, get credit, get input. And then in the business economic explanation, reduction of market risk, reduction of production risk, and for entrepreneurship explanation, this is the opportunity for the farmer to develop and increase the income. And then the perspective on supply chain management. This is related with why the question or answer the how the question. This is related the supply chain management, talk about the management of the flow of goods and service from the producer to the customer. And the supply chain management focus area on the how the quality improvement, the logistic and inventory, and then the information exchange in the value chain. For example, like nowadays is many research focus on transparency and tracking and also tracing. This is related with the food traceability. For example, if we want to analyze or make sure that the product is have high standard with food safety or food quality, for example, like organic, we can do like tracking of the value chain. Who is the farmer product? How the farmer cultivate the product, and then how the processor process the product, and then how is the distribution. So it's like we understand or we know that this is the food traceability, and then the product make sure this is the high quality of the product. And then this is the quality standard and food chain of the upgrading. For instance, like there is many market in the system, like market A, B, C, and D. For example, like F, for example, like in traditional market. B is like C in modern retail. C, for example, like processor, or D is like the export market. The increase of the market, so is the level of quality requirement. For example, like the export market, we need the agreement like the fulfillment of the Europe standard, for instance, or in the United standard. So it's need a high level of the quality requirement, because there is a high level of quality requirement, so it's need also the increase for vertical coordination. We can use the social network theory to explain the social relationship of economic actor on their decision on their performance, such as innovation, entrepreneurship, strategy, welfare. For example, now the new research direction is like the life cycle of the contract farming and how the influence of social network. We can use this topic also to do the research on the contract farming. So we have learned about why smallholder contract with why the smallholder engage in the contract farming, and now the second is why do the contract on here, why the buyer involved or engage in the contract farming. This is the reason. The first is to receive the right quality. For example, like the guarantee of the input provision, monitoring cultivation, provide the technical quality, give the price premium, and also for traceability. The second is to receive the right quantity, because the processor, for instance, or the trader understand the quantity requirement in here. So it's like the forward delivery agreement. They have to sharing of price rise, provide input of loan, use guarantee section, and timely logistic. And then the third, to receive consistent to supply. This is building of long-term relationship, work with the producer organization, establish farmer group, and work in public-private partnership. This is the motivation or the why the buyers engage in the contract farming. They want to receive the right quality, and also consistent to supply. How to achieve the consistent to supply in here? So the buyer try to build the long-term relationship, working with the cooperative or farmer group. And then sometimes they try to establish farmer group if there is no farmer group in the field, and also can use the partnership mechanism. One of the partnership mechanism is through work in public and private partnership. But in here, there is a disadvantage for the producer. It means that there is advantage for the farmer to involve in the contract, but also there is some perspective that there is a disadvantage for the farmer. The disadvantage of the farmer is in here. There are loss of autonomy, because we can know that if the farmer join the contract, there is some regulation that have to fulfillment by the farmer to join the contract. Less lack of the transparency, particularly in the price determination, because the price is set by the producer. And also the contractor might not honor the contract, risk of indebtedness, and also the effect of the adverse gender. And then I also discuss in the producer organization, or Indonesia is like the farmer group, kelompok tani, or the koperasi, something like that. Why is there any role the producer organization in the contract? Yes, this is very important role, and one of the innovation in the institutional arrangement. This is the role of the producer organization in the contract. The role is reduce transaction costs for contractor and farmer. The reduced transaction cost can be seen in the collecting of the product, collective the negotiation, provide market information. We know that the contractor much more prefer to do the contract with the producer organization or farmer group or cooperative rather than with the individual farmer, because it can reduce the transaction cost. And then the role of producer organization in the chains is also strengthen the bargaining power of farmer, organize the technical support. Also, sometimes the producer organization have the activity to provide credit and input, and also organize the quality control. So why to effective the supply chain or value chain in the food value chains, the existence of the farmer group, of the cooperative is very important to effective and to efficient the value chains. And then what now we discuss about the attribute in the contract. What is the contract? Why the farmer and the contractor want to join or enter the contract farming, and then what the preference do farmer and contract have toward the contract farming attribute. So this is the what I call like the contract farming arrangement. This is the common regulation in the contract that created by buyers for that create particularly from the buyer. This is the duration, for instance. If the contractor or the buyer want to create the ground contract, this is the example of this arrangement. The first is duration. This is the long term or just in short term. Formalization is written or is in oral. Provision on inputs, for example, like the producer giving the input like seed, fertilizer to the farmer, or give the technical assistance. And then the scope, this is the contract give to the smallholder is just in individual or in the farmer group. And there is regulation of incentive or not. The incentive can be shared and there is market risk sharing or not. There is also production risk sharing. It's like two of them is incentive, yet giving in the contract regulation, yes or no. And the contractor give the logistic service or maybe involve the third party, not only just involve the contract on not only buyer and farmer, maybe involve the other party. And there is contractor monitoring of production, yes or no. This is combination. There is many attributes of the contract. This is just the example. Most of the contract regulation, the duration, give the incentive, and then give the provision of the inputs, technical assistance, or monitoring. And this is our smallholder exclude from the contract farming. There, this is many argument in here. Argument for exclusion, and there is argument for against the exclusion. Argument for exclusion, we can see that contractor might prefer large farmer because of low cost, transaction cost. If I in the field, I found many contractor that more prefer to join the contract or engage the contract with the large farmer rather than small farmer. Farmer may not be willing to invest in modernization in their farm. And then the argument against the exclusion is smallholder are more likely to stick to the agreement. Smallholder are more flexible. Smallholder can produce high quality because of family labor availability. And the empirical evidence is there mixed in here. So, yeah, this is the arrangement, yeah, in the contract farming arrangement. And now we discuss about the one of the methods that I use to analyze the trade-off of the different preference. Is like we can discuss before that some farmer prefer to join the contract, some farmer not interested to join the contract. On the other hand, the contractor also have the preference with the contract. So it's like it's like how to meet the preference, the buyers, the preference of the farmer doesn't meet something like that. So we use one of the analysis is use the choice experiment, especially this choice used in the marketing. We can focus in here that marketing with the attribute of the marketing is based on the product, is based on the attribute of the product rather than not on the product. For instance, it's like the research, like the research about the consumer preference and willingness to pay in the product of beef, for example. We can see the attribute of the beef, it comes from the animal husbandry, production, and also the price. And in my research, for instance, the contract it's like the product. The contract have the many attributes, and then I want to analyze which the attribute of the contract that the farmer won't really join to the contract. This is a short introduction in my research. This is one of my publication research using the choice experiment analysis of the farmer preference in contracting with modern retail in Indonesia with the choice experiment. The introduction is like we understand that nowadays modern retail in Indonesia is very increased, and also there is contract farming as one of innovation institutional arrangement to link smallholder farmer with the modern retail market. So I analyze the contract farming in modern retail market or in supermarket. Jadi saya ini ya mengidentifikasi kontrak-kontrak yang ada di supermarket gitu ya. Kemudian contract farming arrangement itself entails trade-off between incentive and risk. The contract in modern retail, there is many risk and also there is many incentive. So I want to analyze this incentive and risk in the contract itself. So I investigate smallholder preference for particular contract farming and also determine farmer characteristic such as risk orientation, production organic vegetable, producer organization, and estimate or calculate willingness to accept. And then also the measure choice probability in the several contract design, the purpose of the increased participation of smallholder in the contract. So this is I use the choice experiment. Why I choose experiment in here? Because the choice experiment, if behavioral economic, can calculate of willingness to pay or willingness to accept, and relatively easy for respondent to make real choice. This is consistent with the customer theory and less costly. Rather than I do some field research, is less costly to do some choice experiment. I want to give you my sorry to give you my research PDF. Where is kok hilang ya? Sebentar. This one. Yeah, you can see this is one of publication in the farmer preference in contract farming with modern retail market in Indonesia using choice experiment. And I want to analyze the preference or investigate the preference of farmer towards the contract attribute. You can also use this concept in the product, yeah, for example, like brand A, brand B, for example, and then the attribute in the brand of the product. This is the of the attribute and the contract that I choose in here, the attribute of the price, and then the attribute of the payment, quality, selling place, and also the quantity. And then the model to analyze the attribute, I use the concept of the microeconomic. Even this is marketing, also include the microeconomic. I measure the utility. The utility function, we understand that the utility function is the attribute V and SG, this is the attribute of the contract. So it means that I comparison which attribute that more farmer try to increase their utility. So this is the this choice experience is to measure the utility. So, for example, like the attribute of the price, contract A compare contract B with the have determined the price, and then the selling quality, selling place, which contract the farmer want to prefer. If the farmer chose the contract one, for example, so it means that the farmer try to maximize their utilities. This is the concept in the marketing, in the customer behavior, yeah, especially in the behavioral economic, in the microeconomic. This is one of the choice card that I use in here. So I create the contract A, B, C, and then in here saya memberikan ke responden ya untuk memilih kontrak mana yang kira-kira paling sesuai gitu ya, yang paling disukai gitu ya. Ada kontrak A, kontrak B, kontrak C dengan berbagai macam atribut di dalamnya. Ada harga, pembayaran yang ditunda atau bayar langsung, ada quality yang harus dicapai, ada tempat bayaran, tempat pembelian, atau aturan terhadap dengan quantity. There is also incentive in here. So I combine between the risk and incentive, and then give the farmer to choose which one they prefer. There is a 6 choice set in here, and then for analysis, I use the econometric for especially in the profit modeling, because the output in the probability modeling. So I analyze it in here using this econometric modeling, using the profit model, because the output is in is probability. And then also measure the willingness to accept. The discrete contract farming, we can measure in the analysis using willingness to accept or willingness to payment, yeah, VTP or VTA. But in my case, I use the VTA because this is the concept of the contract, that I measure the marginal value of the VTA in the contract, which is measured by dividing the non-monetary attribute coefficient by the coefficient of monetary attribute. So what the conclusion of this my research is mean that my research, so the farmer do not interested join with the contract. It is surprisingly different with the other research. I'm sorry, how to gimana menegakkan ya. I don't know, it's like complicated. Yeah. Yeah, because if I make the PowerPoint, it look complicated, but now we can see that the conclusion is the farmer do not interested with join with the contract. We can see in here the ASC, the no contract is significant and positive. So it's mean that farmer do not interested with join the contract. They have negative preference with the contract. We can see because the contract have the delay of payment, have high the quality standard, and then we can see also in here the sorting or the handling most modern is negative and statistically significant, and then the arrangement of distribution also negative and significant, and quantity arrangement also negative and significant. So it means that the farmer in my when ketika saya memberikan question tersebut, petani lebih memilih untuk tidak memilih bergabung dengan kontrak atau lebih memilih menjual sayurannya kepada para tengkulak gitu ya. karena terlalu banyak kontrak itu terlalu banyak ini ya, tidak memberikan banyak insentif dan terlalu sangat beresiko. Terutama kontrak yang diberikan di supermarket ya. Mungkin kalau ada kontrak yang lain mungkin beda lagi. Saya tidak tahu. Mungkin bisa dilanjutkan penelitian selanjutnya dengan mengidentifikasi jenis kontrak yang lain gitu ya. And also it is I also analysis factor determine is like education, organic, risk orientation, community is also is positive. I mean, is positive and significant. So it means that the farmer have high education, organic farming, adopt organic, have high risk, and join with the market within the producer organization, have high probability to join with the contract. Yeah. So I'm back again to my PowerPoint again. Where is my PowerPoint? Okay, this one. This research penelitian ini juga bisa ya digunakan untuk brand-brand yang lain juga bisa. Jadi mau brand pertanian yang lain, atribut lain juga bisa menggunakan discrete choice experiment. This is the reference of choice experiment, and many publications in the choice experiment depends on the novelty, solving problem, and how to create the fundamental theory, and also how to estimate the model. Thank you. This is my presentation. If you have any question, please welcome, and I'm so sorry if not clear with my speech. Now back to the Miss Novi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fani Widadi, PhD, Dr. Fani and Dr. Aditya Gulus. So let's give an applause for Mr. Aditya Gulus and Mr. Fani by pressing reaction. All right, thank you very much for the presentation for today. Now we go with the next session, that is Q&A session or discussion session. Now you can deliver your question both directly through raise hand and also writing a comment through a chat box. All right, so ya, boleh bertanya langsung atau di chat box ya. Terima kasih. Baik, ada pertanyaan. So we have questions from Mr. Awang Tri. This is our colleagues from Faculty of Animal Husbandry in University of Brawijaya. So thank you, Ms. Novi. My question is, how many percent the increase of price from producer to consumer for the longest and shortest actor in supply chain from farm product like rice or vegetables? But unfortunately, we don't know whether this question is for Mr. Aditya or Mr. Fani. Pak Awang, masih di sini? Okay. Maybe this is for Mr. Adit first. All right. How many percent the increase of price from producer to consumer for the longest and shortest actor in supply chain for farm product? Maybe you can explain it by case study of mango.
So this question is for me.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you for the question, Awang 3. So how many percent of the increase of price from producers to consumers and for the longest and shortest actors, right? So first, it will also depends on the price, because like in mango, for example, like what happened now currently is a mango season, right? So the mango price will be very cheap, start from the producers, from the growers in the on-farm. So sometimes they only sell is about the cheapest selling price. I remember it was about maybe 3,000 to 5,000 Indonesian rupiah per kilogram. It's very low. So that's why many farmers mention that there's no point to produce good quality mangoes because the price will be drastically decreasing. So that's in the production center in Pasuruan in East Java. In Jakarta, in Bogor, so maybe that's the longest chain from the production center in Pasuruan until the market in Jakarta. In Jakarta now the price is about like 20 in the supermarket. It's about 20,000 Indonesian rupiah per kilogram. So yeah, we can say we can analyze that. That's the longest chain. So, and then the price, what is it? Price range is also very high, from like 5,000 until 20,000. But we need also to consider that the more along your chain, so the risk of the losses will be also higher. And the traders, especially because we still don't have enough post-harvest technology applied, so the traders will need to. So the traders harus menanggung lossesnya that losses happen. So they will. They need to increase the selling price so that they can still get some income from that. But in my research, the shortest chain is from the farmer directly to consumers. So now we already have digital marketing, social media or something. So the farmers who already know about those things, about the social media and marketplace, online marketplace, they directly sell their mangoes to consumers. So that's why it's not, but the specification of the mango is also not as low quality as the common mango. They usually sell the higher quality than the common mango. So that's why they can sell with high price directly to consumers. Like for example, one farmer in Pasuruan, when I did my research, they sell 1 kilogram mango for about like 40,000 Indonesian rupiah per kilogram. But that's a very good quality mango. That's why they also need to maintain their quality to have the good price as well. Yeah. We can calculate. We can calculate the percentage of the differences between the on-farm price, the farm gate price, and then the end market price.
Market price. All right. So I hope that it answers the question, Mr. I think Mr. Awang has left, but I will later on.
Thank you, Ms. Novi, for your question.
Can I?
Okay.
Later, I still join.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. Now,
Thank you.
Mr. Fani, we'd love to hear from you. Okay.
Sorry. Can I answer just a little bit?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Seperti my case, because in my case in a vegetable value chain, for instance, it's like in my cases, could I share it? I just want to share again. This is in my case, for example, like the broccoli. In my case, I doing the contract in broccoli, and I NVK in broccoli in 2000. My research in 2020. I forgot it. I forgot. It's very long. It's a long time. I investigate the selling price of broccoli, for instance. If the farmer sell to the middleman, it's just only 6,000 rupiah per kilo. But if the farmer sell to the contract, like through the producer organization, it's almost 14,000 a kilo. So it's mean that almost double, or is exists double if the farmer just sell to the middleman or sell to the modern retail, but it through the producer organization. This is I found in the field in 2020. So but in my case, I try to make the level of the attribute. What if the farmer selling to 8,000, 10,000 a kilo, 12,000, 40,000, and also 16,000 in this case. And surprisingly, in my research, that the farmer statistically still chose the contract C with just only the price only 6,000 a kilo. Because they have get the payment immediately, no need some handling, just what is selling in the farm gate, or ya hanya di rumah aja tiba-tiba ada pendatang yang beli, pendatang ya tengkulak yang datang gitu, dan mau dibeli dengan harga dengan jumlah berapapun gitu. Jadi so it's been like there is cap price, there is double cap. I mean there's many difference. I mean difference between the sell to the broccoli sell to the middleman or through the modern retail market. So maybe it's answer the question.
Yeah. All right. So now let's go with Mr. Awang Tri. Yeah. Is there any feedback for the question? Okay. All right. So thank you very much for answering the question of Mr. Awang Tri. Okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to open for the next question, please. Okay, so while we were waiting for the question, I'd love to ask a question for Mr. Aditya Kilus. It's more of a discussion because I'm very interested in your dynamic system for causal loop and also stock flow diagram. My first question is, if you want to make a kind like causal loop diagram ya, itu sampai sejauh mana ya dari yang R sama B itu tadi ya untuk melihat sebuah case tadi seperti itu, haruskah kita memberikan batasan-batasan tertentu untuk penelitiannya seperti itu. And the second one from ini ya Pak stock flow ya Pak ya, stock flow ya. Ya, nah itu apa saja yang bisa membuat stock flow diagram? Apakah kebijakan ataukah jumlah permintaan dan penawaran? Karena itu kan seperti simulasi ya Pak ya, seperti itu. Alright. So your case study is for Minggu, right?
Yeah.
And I am Miss Neza Fadia Rayesa in 2021 through our HPP juga pernah menulis itu, but for shallot. Therefore, we are interested to know more about causal loop and stock flow diagram.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. So maybe we can have collaboration in the future for our next project together using this approach. So in my experience in making a CLD, of course we need to set the boundaries of the study. So for example, like in my case, in analyzing the Indonesian mango industry, of course, I only focus on the several production center of mangoes in Indonesia, like East Java and West Java. Yeah. Besides those two production centers, we still have Central Java, and then West Nusa Tenggara, and then what else? South Sulawesi as the production center of mangoes. But here I only focus on those two production centers. So yeah, that's why we need to set the boundaries for our analysis, and also even for the quantitative stage in my thesis, it hasn't published yet. So for the quantitative analysis, my boundary is more smaller. It's only in Kabupaten Pasuruan. So because that's the most complete data available, like the number of trees and then the production. That's the most complete kabupaten that the secondary data is available. So yeah, that's why we need to set the boundaries, and then because my focus is on the value chain, so of course my boundary is from the actors, all actors involved in the value chain, and also the boundary is of course my goal is to increase export, but because of the limited data, limited resources, I cannot go to the export market. So yeah, my limitation is only on the national level. So that's the boundary. So and then for the stock and flow as well as the CLD is the same. So how do you determine the variables, right? Isn't it? The questions, yes. Determine the variables. So yeah, to determine the variables, first, from the steps of system thinking, we identify the problems first, and then from that problem, we of course I did some interviews, and then also the group model building together with the stakeholders. I asked them to write down what are the problems happen in the Indonesian mango industry. Yeah, that's the way to determine the variables involved in the CLD as well as in the stock and flow diagram. But to determine which variables are the more important, like leverage points, I back again to the actors, and then I validate my models, and then I ask them which are the variables that include as leverage points and why. So back again, I did the discussion, more in-depth discussion with the actors. So the one that determine the variables is the actors themselves, not me as a researcher. I just a facilitator. Yeah.
All right.
Because here I want to, like, for example, it's a bottom-up policy, the one that the policy that really needed by the actors in the field. Yeah, so sometimes that's sometimes as a policymaker, sometimes we only do the top-down policies and without considering what the actors in the field really needed. So that's why one of the advantages in using this approach. Yeah.
All right. So it's very interesting to know that this is also include the participatory approach ya Pak, yang
Yes,
di
it's a
terakhir
participatory approach.
conclusion
Yeah.
tadi ya. So that's becoming the basic on why you choose the variables to use the stock and flow diagram.
Yes.
Right. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. And looking forward for future collaboration. Okay. Now, is there any question? Kalau nggak ada nanti aku curhat nggak ke Pak Fani. So I have a question for Mr. Fani. This is actually part of my dissertation. Why I am having maybe accepted in the Wageningen University with Mr. Paul Ingenblick as my supervisors. So I'm about to do something that almost the same with you, but since my research group is in consumer and marketing behavior, so I am trying to write down about the sustainability of business for UKM with the the influence of digital transformation, and one of which is the using of financial method and also the source of marketplace. So because we have so many partnership, the object is UKM, and the other one is the choice of partnership with the UKM marketplace. The other one we are also trying to do something about the ini apa kayak semacam fintech ya seperti itu. But we are still working on something to make it more details. So my question for you, you have explained further research. You have mentioned that you need, if there is anybody here who would like to continue your research, it might be about type of partnership, right? And what do you think about the influence of digital transformation on it? What can we do with that? Is it in fintech or credit or something? What is your opinion? This is I am trying to learn from you also as the alumni of Wageningen University.
Yes, thank you, Miss Novi. Yeah, this is a little bit
Challenge.
out the topic, out the
Yes.
topic, but it's fine. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, means congratulations and hopefully you success with your
Amin,
PhD
amin.
program in Wageningen University,
Thank you.
especially in the marketing group. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Actually, one of my paper. Yeah, this is farmer preference in here is also working with the Ivo van der Lens. He is lecture also in the business marketing in the Wageningen University. I discuss a lot with the Ivo van der Lens about the discrete choice experiment, actually, because most of the expert of this concept is in marketing group at the moment, because in the marketing group, yeah, I mean in the Mr. Novi, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, Miss Novi plays for the
Was
PhD
it
many.
challenging?
Yeah, Vivo van der Lens concerned about the discrete choice experiment, and I asked with him to talk about the discrete choice experiment in the attribute, because it is main topic in the marketing, especially in the marketing, and then anything topic we can use in the discrete choice experiment in the health, transportation, or in my case in the business or policy.
Yes.
Policy also you can use about that. And then your question about the fintech, something like that, yeah, fintech, and
The
then the
influence
other,
of transformation, digital transformation era, Mr. Yes.
yeah, the digital transformation. Actually, yeah, this is a little bit out of the topic of the contract. It's fine. Yeah, nowadays it's like the many marketplace, and then small medium enterprise adopt the system like the marketing, like the marketplace, and then also adopt like the system in the fintech, something like that, and then also influence now the transformation for the business model is like you can analyze it like the new business model system in the small and medium enterprise, that by adapting with this kind of era. But now we can also talk in the media, see the media is like nah gini ya, ada banyak kayak TikTok sebagainya sudah mulai dilarang. Ini kan juga ada semacam interesting topic like the positive, the advantage, also some the disadvantage, something like that. This like what is something yang perlu untuk dikaji lebih dalam gitu ya, dalam hal transformasi berubah, tapi juga ada beberapa yang belum memberi dampak gitu ya. This side of positive, sometimes side of the negative, but we cannot avoid with this transformation. Like or dislike, we have to adapt with this system gitu. And also interesting, it also interesting that the future study also maybe using some those discrete choice experiment. You can create the attribute from the positive and then the negative one. For instance, in my case, the incentive and also the risk. And then give the maybe the respondent of the small or the mediums what the digital mechanism, the attribute in the mechanism, the attribute that the owner, which attribute that they will prefer to adopt this system. Something this good.
Okay. So I think there will be another collaboration also with Mr. Fani Widadi and Mr. Aditya Kilos. Very nice to know that. All right. Thank you for answering my question, Dr. Fani. Now, we move to the next question is for Mr. Adit. Yes. Okay. Regarding the CLD that discuss dynamic systems, can we make connection between variables even though there is no data? Okay. And then how do researchers discuss the results of the diagram? So you can find out the leverage point. Do we have to compare with the theory or other articles? Seems there are so many people interested in this kind of method. All right, Dr. Aditya, please.
Yeah, thank you, Novi. Thank you, Bu Wiwit,
yes,
for your very interesting questions. So, to identify, the first question is, can we make a connection between variables even though there is no data? My answer is yes. So that's the importance of using the participatory approach. So I'm using the group model building because what I have told you in my presentation, like for example in Pasuruan, in Kabupaten Pasuruan, the only official data available is only the number of trees and also the production of mangoes. So we don't have any other official data. In fact, mangoes sold according to the quality grades, right? We have grade A, B, C. How many percentage of grade A, B, C? We don't have the official data about that. So that's why the importance of using the participatory approach. I can ask the community how many percent the grade A, B, C, and then the current situation, and then what we are expected is like the grade A will be higher in the next season or in the next years. So that's why we need to understand the underlying structures, then we can change the result of the quality grades resulted from the mango production. So that's the importance of using the participatory approach. Another example is like, for example, farmers' motivation. We don't have any data of farmers' motivation, right? If you want to, like, they get some income, then their motivation will increase. Income increase, farmer motivation will increase. But we don't have any data about farmers' motivation. That's in developing CLD, we can use the data, even though that there are no official data available. And then the second one is how do researchers discuss the result of the diagram so we can find out the leverage points. So to identify the leverage point, I did it from the identification of system archetypes. So system archetypes is the basic pattern of the system. So whatever the system looks like, there must be a system archetype happen within that system. So once we understand the system archetype, the pola dasarnya gitu ya. Once we understand the pola dasar, then it can help us to identify which are the leverage points that leverage intervention, the leverage point that we can give intervention to improve the overall performance of the system. And then, what I did is I back again to the actors. Then once I identify the system archetypes, then I back again to the actors, and then I show the system archetypes to them, and I explain about the system archetypes here. Then I ask them which are the leverage point here according to your opinion. So I did another group model building. So it's not the second one is basically it's not a group model building. It's more than a validation of the model that I have created. I asked to them whether this model is correct or not, and then I continued with explaining about the system archetypes, and then ask them what are the interventions that the appropriate intervention that can be applied in the system archetypes to improve the overall performance of the system. And of course, if we can have theory that can be a reference, it will be good to complete our analysis then. That's all.
Alright, so tetap ya, jadi kan tadi disusun, kemudian you confirm whether it is a theory, and then you can also find the intervention through the participatory approach itu tadi ya, Pak.
Another part.
Alright.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, Bu Wiwit, does it answer your question?
May I ask one more question from Mr. Adit, Ms. Novi?
Okay.
Mr. Adit, I very interested to your research. It's about causal diagrams, and I want to ask you about if the case is different, so it is possible to the sign of the variable is different too, right? Your case is from you get the primary data, but how about the secondary data? How do we determine if the relationship between variable is a negative or a positive? Should we read the other article with the same one, or you know that the secondary data is really difficult for me. I don't know for you. Maybe you can share your experience about this. Thank you.
Okay. The analysis of the secondary data it will be very helpful to determine our results. For example, like Mango export, for example, we have that secondary data. But what influences Mango export? Sometimes we don't have any secondary data for that. Like for example, Mango production and Mango export. We can simply connect Mango production with the Mango export, but I think that's why I explained to you earlier, like we need to also have a logical thinking here. So Mango production is not in Mango production. If Mango production increase, Mango export can also be increased, but maybe it's not directly influenced, right? So Mango export will influence another thing, and then maybe will increase the Mango export. So that's why we need to have a logical thinking here. And then, if there's any secondary data, it will be very helpful. But unfortunately, our data management in Indonesia is not as complete as maybe in developed country. If you don't have enough secondary data, what you can do is that participatory approach. You can ask to the community, you can ask to the actors about what is supposed to be the quantitative data. But yeah, and back again, the CLD is still the qualitative part of the system thinking. We still cannot measure how much fertilizer that you need to add to improve the performance of your system, something like that.
Well, the key is we have to have a logical thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
All
you, Bu Novi.
right. Thank you very much, Bu Wiwit. Now, I have a class of research methodology, but they are very shy because of the English. They shy to speak English, so I try to write it for them. It is basically for Mr. Fanning. There are 3 questions. The first is, what role does trust play in the success of contract farming arrangement in the Indonesian vegetable value chain, and how can it be fostered and maintained? So this is from my student, the name is Pata. He is trying to ask about the role of trust in the successful of contract farming. And the second is, are there specific regulatory or policy measures in Indonesia that can facilitate the adoption of contract farming and the growth of producer organization in the vegetable of value chain? And the last one, of course, what lessons can be learned from other countries' experience in this with contract farming and producer organization, and how might they be applied to Indonesian context? This is from my student from class E.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, Miss Novi. This is very nice and great question for me. Yeah, this is from a student from research methodology. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. The first question is about the role of the trust in the success of contract farming arrangement. Yeah. Thank you. We have learned much more about trust. I mean, this is very important, the trust in the contract farming arrangement. If we look based on the theory, I will explain the theory and then the research, result. And then the theory, for example, first, based on the transaction cost theory, the trust is very important to reduce the behavioral opportunism in this case, because in the contract, this is the relationship, this is the agreement that have to fulfillment by then they have to obey the farmer and also the processor or the buyer in this case. So if we look the transaction cost economy, the position of the trust is important to reduce the transaction cost, especially this is reduce the opportunistic behavioral. And then another my research also, I have publication in the trust as well, another publication also related with my PhD thesis. I analyzes the communication openness, how influence the relationship. This is also related with the trust. So it's mean also influence in here. The strong influence. This is the trust have strong influence to the impact to the long-term relationship. This is the commitment. So as mean here in here that the contract, the farmer have to produce the high quality standard that already stated in the contract, and then also the farmer have to sell some of the product to the buyer who have set the contract. So is it the trust? Trust in here is like the farmer have to sell the product to the buyers, because in my cases, in also I found in the field, and also I have read paper in the African countries, many farmer doing some side selling or sell to the others buyer who's to the other high price rather than the contract price. It's very common. I mean, that's very common. It's iPhone. This is many cases in the field. So why many contract fail, especially in developing country, because this is also related with the trust. The farmer doing some side selling to the other buyers, and also because it's related with the price, and also there is no traceability. I mean, there is no transparency about the price setting by the producer. So I agree with this. So if the contractor want to put the sustainable in the contract farming arrangement, they have to, the first thing they have to build the build trust through the giving the transparency, giving the communication openness to the farmer, and also doing some negotiation gitu. Because for example, if the price of the vegetable in the market or sell to the middleman is little bit higher with the price setting with the producer organization or price setting in the contract, many cases I found that the farmer will do like side selling. So yeah, transparency, build trustability, satisfaction in the relationship is very important. One of my research paper talk about that. You can find in the my paper about that.
All right.
And then the second point, the second question: are there specific regulation or policy in Indonesia that adoption of contract farming and growth of producer organization? There is any specific regulation from the growth of producer organization, or in this case it's like koperasi gitu ya kalau di Indonesia, kemudian kelompok tani gitu ya. Karena kan kontrak yang saya temui gitu ya, banyak perusahaan itu lebih suka melakukan kontrak itu dengan kelompok atau dengan koperasi, bukan dengan individu gitu ya, karena lebih memudahkan untuk collecting gitu ya, collecting. So why many regulation in Indonesia about the growth of producer organization? There is many what I call many aids bantuan gitu ya, many aids from the government that giving the, for example, like giving the seed, fertilizer, and then also some inputs like mechanical agricultural to the farmer. But it's true the producer organization or melalui kelompok tani gitu ya, bukan ke individu gitu. Sehingga memang dirancang banyak oleh pemerintah itu membentuk sebuah kelompok gitu ya. But in many cases the producer organization or farmer group in Indonesia is just community service. It's just only they have the function just only community service that focus on the production and just what is tempat menerima bantuan gitu. I'm not saying like that, but it's need to increase the function of the farmer group or the function producer organization to have the marketing activity. Because one of my research, I divided the two items, the two kinds of the producer organization. The community producer organization that do not have any marketing activity, and the marketing producer organization atau kelompok tani yang memiliki pemasaran itu atau marketing producer, and the result, the preference farmer who join with the marketing producer organization have high probability to choose the contract rather than not. So it's mean that now the government have specific regulation how to make the farmer group to be the marketing activity rather than just focus on the production improvement. So there is many regulation like, yeah, this like just not only giving the improvement production or the pesticide and handling pest and something like that, but also make the create like cooperative, create something, link the channel with the buyers, because many buyers really want with the coordination or working with the producer organization than individual farmer.
Yeah.
And then the third is answer the question.
Yeah. It's answering the
Or maybe
question.
And then
I
the
think it's
third,
answering the question, yes, because the first question, I think my student is doing something on structural equation modeling with
okay,
trust to the contract farming arrangement. Therefore, he would like to know your comment on that, and I
okay,
think it is already done, and now we can proceed
okay,
with the next question. Yes, the lesson
okay, yeah.
learned. Mhm.
Okay, the lesson learned from the other country experience with the contract farming, how might they be applied to the Indonesian context? Yeah, with other countries, for instance, when I doing PhD in Netherlands, many African country also doing the same project, the contract farming and also producer organization. The same problem happen in developing country rather than in developed country. Something is very quite different. The developing country like Indonesian or in African country, the problem is the same, like the many cases of the sad selling, and then also there is many actors involved in the chain, such as middleman, entah ya tengkulak, entah pedagang besar, pedagang kecil yang is influence the price sustainability in the contract mechanism, and factor of the trust, lack of traceability, lack of transparency, in the small what happen in the contract mechanism in the developing country. So why in the developing country not much they fail the implementation. Many cases the contract farming is failed. It doesn't have any impact to the smallholder farmer because many intervention from the others actors that make the farmer not obey the rule of the mechanism. This is because this is mass product on the perfect competition. It's maybe different if the product is in perfect competition is different cases. And also the producer organization is the same problem. I mean, like I said before, most in developed countries such as in Europe or in United States, cooperative, there is cooperative over there, and the cooperative, many farmers sell the product to the cooperative, and the cooperative handling, have the marketing activity, have the processor activity, and also will they impact the increase for the added value of the farmer. But in Indonesia, there is no activity on that. So just only focus, more disorganized focus on production. So it not give high value added value for the farmer. So also is implied to the efficient, and is implied that is not efficient and not effective in the value chain system in Indonesia, because we learn of the other country, especially in developed country, It just only short, short tidak pendek gitu ya value chain-nya, karena banyak koperasi yang berada di sana gitu ya, bukan para pedagang yang over there di sana gitu ya. Terus kemudian pertanyaan tentang mahasiswanya mungkin nanti bisa cari aja artikel saya juga penelitian tentang trust. Trust dan di kontrak pertanian yang di book chapter di Springer sudah terbit sudah lama.
Congratulations. Iya.
Dengan Sam juga gitu ya, dengan Sam.
Okay.
Itu. I hope it answer the question. If any feedback,
definitely.
Let me know then.
Yeah, I think it answers the question. They will see the YouTube later because yeah. Now what lesson learned sudah ya dijawab ya tadi sudah. So now is there any other question, ladies and gentlemen here? Okay. Or both of you, do you want to have a question each other? No, I don't think so. All right. Okay. So it's very nice to see you both. Kayaknya kita sudah bisa, we come to the end of the session. Panitia sudah siap ya? Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, I think we come to the end of the session. I'd like to say thank you very much for Dr. Aditya Kilus and Dr. Fani Widadi. Before we end our session, I would like to give you some closing remarks. So today we have engaged into insightful discussion that shed light on critical aspects of agriculture, marketing, and decision-making within the context of Indonesia's evolving agricultural landscape. So this discussion centered around system thinking in agricultural marketing products and discrete choice experiment with contract farming and producer organization in modern retail vegetable value chain in Indonesia. From Dr. Aditya Kilus, we learned the concept of system thinking in agricultural marketing products that has opened our eyes to the intricate web of relationship and interactions within a system that determine the success of agricultural products in the market. We've learned that a holistic view of the entire system encompassing producers, distributors, retailers, and consumers. And those are essential for making informed decisions. So understanding the ripple effects of any change or decision within this complex system is crucial to ensure sustainability and efficiency in agricultural marketing. Talking about sustainability and efficiency from Dr. Fani Widadi, we have also learned the exploration of discrete choice experiment in the context of contract farming and producer organization in Indonesia's modern retail vegetable value chain that has highlighted the importance of considering various factors and preferences that influence the choice of both producers and consumers. This research underscores the significance of tailoring strategies and contracts to meet the needs and expectations of all parties involved. By doing so, we can promote sustainable practices and boost the efficiency of vegetables value chain in Indonesia. So lastly, in combining this discussion, we find common ground in the recognition that agricultural marketing and value chains are not isolated entities, but integral components of a larger system. To succeed in the modern agricultural landscape, we must embrace the principle of system thinking and informed decision-making. So by considering the diverse preference and the needs of all stakeholders in the agricultural value chains, from producers to consumers, we can drive positive change, enhance efficiency, and promote sustainable practices in Indonesia's agricultural sectors. So as we move forward, let's keep this insight at the forefront of our minds for the better of Indonesia agricultural system. So again, we would like to thank you for your active participation in these discussions, to our guest speakers, Dr. Aditya Kilus and Dr. Fani Widadi. And we also look forward to seeing the positive impact to this insight for the agricultural sector of Indonesia. And now, as the token of appreciation, our committee of virtual 3-in-1 program on the marketing of agricultural products is very happy to give you the certificate. Okay, Panitia. First of all, this is for Mr. Aditya Mahendra Kilus, PhD. Thank you. And I hope that this is our first collaboration and we'll continue to the next collaboration. Thank you very much, Dr. Aditya Mahendra Kilus. And now this is the certificate of participation is proudly awarded to Dr. Fani Widadi or Mr. Fani Widadi, SPM Agribusiness PhD, as the contribution as our speaker in 3-in-1 program. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again for the next collaboration. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your enthusiastic in this virtual 3-in-1 program on marketing of agricultural product. Me and my team would like to say sorry if there is any uncomfortable or technical program happen during the time. We also say thank you again on behalf of our agricultural social economics department to our speakers, Mr. Aditya Kilus and Mr. Fani Widadi. Finally, thank you very much. I'll see you again in the next session of 3-in-1 program. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and bye-bye.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Terima
wabarakatuh.
kasih.
Thank you so much, Novi.
Thank you so much.
Fani.
Thank you. Thank you, Pak Fani. Thank you.
Iya, saya keluar ya.
Ya, thank you.